Oh, hello, hello. I kicked over last night while I was sleeping my video camera, and I have to readjust it, but the hell with it. This is Sir David the Bard. I'm doing a special video here. It has nothing to do with anything except my doctor. I hope I have some grapes here. I'll eat them. Thank you, Mercy. I want my doctor to pick this video up because he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have the interest in helping me through a problem that we've had here. So let me give my side of the story, and he can do whatever he wants. He can make a video. Anyway, this is Dr. Raymond Ward, W-A-R-D, in Bountiful, Utah. He's now a legislator up there in the State House. He's been elected, and he has a medical degree and specialties in diabetes, and he has a PhD. And he's been my doctor for several months, and he is an excellent doctor. My health has been the best it's been since he's been my doctor. I have absolutely no complaints about him being a doctor. And I do have some complaints. As you know, the Bard don't roll without complaints. Okay? His medical staff are idiots. IDIOTTTTS, idiots. And he's a Mormon. MORMON, moron. He has no ability or training to resolve disputes. He's trained to bow his head and say yes. And if other people don't bow their head and say yes, he goes, what the fuck? I don't know what to do. And he doesn't. He doesn't. He needs to grow a pair of balls. And in his situation, he needs some brass balls. Let me tell you what his staff does. Half the time, they don't answer the phone. The time that they do answer the phone, they say they'll call back. They never call back. They don't. I've had two major corporations, one Hover-Round, looking at wheelchair options, power chairs for me getting around the house when I have bad days. And he filled out all the paperwork. He was an excellent doctor. He got it all done. His staff sent it to the wrong address. They're morons, but he has no balls, so he ain't going to say nothing. These situations that I see come up now that I'm in the real world and that I have dealt with the real world, where I've had to hire, I've had to fire, and I've had to develop policies and procedures and make hard decisions that affect other people's lives. I never make a decision without hearing the entire story. I interview everybody, the witnesses, the people that were present, and then I sit down and I look at my policy manual and procedures, and I may call another director and say, have you had this problem? Here's what I'm looking at. I would get some damn information before I just went off and hit someone with my penis. Now, here's what happened. They send it to the wrong address. Well, Hover-Round called them 8 times and left detailed messages that said, you morons sent it to the wrong address. Don't send it to us. Medicare requires that you send it to Humana. So, I go in, and Hover-Round says, yeah, we got it, but we've been trying to leave, and we have left very detailed messages, phone numbers, fax numbers. They do nothing. I don't know what they do. They go in the back room and play with each other. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to be crude and rude. So I say, can I talk to Nick? They go, yeah. He's head of the office department. I said, okay. So I sit down, I talk to Nick, and he says, holy shit. We fucked up here. I said, yeah, you have. The girl that I called here at your office told me you have no emails in this $28 or $24 million building. No one has an email. So I became a little louder and I said, are you really telling me there's no emails? I have an email from Hoveround that tells the dates and the time that they've called you, and I'd like to just forward it over there. I don't want to get dressed, get in my car, walk in, make an appointment. Why are you making me do this? So she starts off. Says, well, you're not being a very nice person. Now, I guess she thought I was calling for an invitation to the old Golden Green Ball or to the Young Women's presentation or to the primary presentation or to the Relief Society. I think she wanted me to believe I was calling her to be a friend. I have no friends, and I don't want any, especially like her. So she decides to comment to me, you're not a nice person. Well, she doesn't have a psych degree. She hasn't read the DSM-4 revised. She's not qualified to make that decision. So she is supposed to, by policy and procedure, to go, hey, let me refer this up to my supervisor. She doesn't do that. She hangs up on me, a medical staff. Now, I said to Nick, why don't we go out? I'm leaving now because I think you can fix some of these things. And I'd like to talk to the staff that hung up on me. I wasn't loud. I wasn't crude. I wasn't rude. I said, young lady, you have many people in a doctor's office. Some of us are mentally ill. Some of us talk too loud. Some of us whisper. Some of us are in wheelchairs. Some of us have no voice. We have sign language. And if you can't deal with that, you need to put it up to your supervisor. You don't hang up on mental patients and medical patients. You don't do that. Well, I'm sorry. I said, no, don't be sorry. Just don't do it. Goodbye. And out the door I went. Well, I come home. And the state president, legislator, medical doctor, PhD calls me up. I know what he's going to say. I know Mormons. So I wait the next day. He calls. I answer the phone. He said, wow, I hear you came in and called my staff some names. I said, well, did you get both sides of the story? Well, no. God damn. How can you be a doctor? How can you have a PhD and write a dissertation? How can you be elected to the, well, I can see how you can be elected to any Utah public office with that kind of intelligence. And I said to him, listen, when I change policies or procedures, or I discipline people, or I fire, hire, promote, I talk to everybody. I want the whole story. There'll be some people that'll be negative, some that'll be positive, some that'll be neutral. I want to hear all the facts. Did you call Nick before you called me? And he says, no. I said, well, why don't you call Nick and get the other side of the story? Well, here comes out the state president. He goes, well, I'll do that, but you need to write a letter of apology to my staff, or I'm going to quit being your doctor. The Hippocratic oath, Hippocratic oath, or whatever. Do no harm. Do no harm. Well, I'm in the middle of a wheelchair situation. I just put my Medtronic pump $4,000 down because I can't get medical supplies for it because they don't call back. They don't send in the prescriptions. And I say to myself, is this the way he really wants his medical office to operate? Must be, because he ain't changing it. He ain't changing it, so I have to do repentance. I have been judged guilty. He's the judge, jury, and the executioner. I have been judged guilty of being a mental patient. Well, he hasn't called back. He hasn't called back. So obviously he got more information and now knows he's got his head up his ass. How does the stake president call and say, oh, I made a mistake? See, he's inspired by God. God made a mistake. Jesus, when I was having coffee with him this morning, told me the truth. You weren't being an ass, my staff's being an ass. Well, anyway, I'm not writing a letter of apology, and I've thought about it for 4 days. I think his medical skills are excellent. I think his administrative skills are in the 6th grade. They're in the 6th grade. This is what my 6th grade daughter would do if there's problems in school. He's in a cult. He's in a cult, and they do not teach resolution to problems. They treat cause and effect, power and punishment. He is not going to apologize. He is not going to call up and say, gee, I got the other side, David, and, I was quick on the trigger. I'm really sorry. Can we just go forward? He hasn't called at all. He's typical Mormon. Typical Mormon. They're just going to hide behind their stupidity, and they're not going to grow a set of balls. They're used to being told what to do, and they shut their mouths. He's not going to go out there and tell his granddaughter or his lover or his niece, don't hang up on people. He's not going to hold a meeting and say, Jesus Christ, you guys aren't returning calls. Corporations are pissed at us. What the hell is going on here? If you want to work here, go look at your job description and then go do it. But he can't do that. He's just a doctor. He's not an administrator. He's just a doctor. So I called Nick this morning, and I said, Nick, did you tell him the truth? And he said, I certainly did. And I said, you told him she hung up? Yes. You told him he had no email? Yeah, I told him everything. And he was surprised. Mormons are always surprised at facts. They're always surprised with facts because they make up facts in their own head that are not true. So he was going to disembowel me. He was going to excommunicate me from his office. I got thinking about it. My health has never been better. Never been better with a doctor. He's excellent as a doctor. But mentally, he's doing harm because he can't supervise his staff. He won't supervise his staff. Or he believes that sending things to the wrong address, hanging up on people, saying that there's no email, is proper procedure and not returning phone calls. He must think that that's just the way you run a doctor's office. So I've been thinking. I made an appointment tomorrow at 1:10, and she said, what is this appointment for? And I said, to come in and fire his ass. I don't want him for a doctor. His medical skills are outstanding, but I'm suffering. I'm suffering way too much. So take away my meds, take away my insulin pump, take away my diabetic, take away this, take away. I don't give a shit. He is incompetent in supervising that staff. And until he's willing to train them, until he's willing to apologize for their behavior, they should write me a letter of apology. I don't want him as a doctor. He scares me. He's too quick. He's too quick on the trigger. He scares me. So, I'm not going to be a Mormon and go, I quit, over the phone. I'm going to look the man eye to eye, knee to knee, hand to arm, face to face, ear to hand. I'm going to give him the 5 points of fellowship and say, you know what, you're being an ass. Straighten up. There's other doctors. He's not going to straighten up. He's going to say, fine. Get your ass out of here. I know that. But this is the Bard. The Bard don't play that game. The Bard don't roll that way. I'd like to have health in the navel, marrow in the bones, strength in the loins, and in the sinews, power in the priesthood be upon me and upon my posterity, through all generations of time and throughout all eternity. I'm going to call him up and say, hey, go look up on Google. Go look up on Google, because the Bard is coming to quit. He's coming to quit. You ain't God. You ain't God. You're not even an administrator. Thanks, bye.